The Secretary General of the Joint Apparel Association Forum, Johan Lawrence, says a downward adjustment in industrial electricity tariffs is essential for the apparel sector to stay competitive in the global market. Addressing the stakeholder consultation on the proposed electricity tariff revision, Lawrence called for a further reduction in electricity tariffs from the proposed revision by the Ceylon Electricity Board.
A stakeholder consultation on the proposed electricity tariff revision organised by the Public Utilities Commission was held in BMICH today. Addressing the event, the Secretary General of Joint Apparel Association Forum, Johan Lawrence, highlighted the importance of a downward adjustment in industrial electricity tariffs.
Sri Lanka needs to be competitive in the international market. Energy pricing is not competitive, and unless we have an adjustment in the industrial tariff, Sri Lanka will further lose our competitive edge and result in a further loss of earnings and of employment in the sector. The situation has been made worse with the change in the rupee. Our energy costs in USD are now significantly higher than our competitor countries. So if you look at the industrial tariff for the apparel sector, this CV overestimation of demand was something that we had highlighted at our previous submissions to the PCUSL. The overestimation of demand meant that it meant you needed more furnace oil, more coal, more fuel, and more high cost items. But the actual demand was in fact 10% less than was forecasted by the CV. Our position in this is that if the CV demand and the CV documents allude to this fact that there has been an overestimation of demand. The existing tariff was proposed. We made the point that the demand has been overestimated and that overestimation of demand will lead to unfairly high pricing. We are perfectly fine with having cost-reflective pricing, but it must be the correct cost. Price of coal, current prices versus prices that we had in December and even January last year when we set the tariff, price of coal has fallen. And this was one of the arguments that was put forward for the increased tariff was that coal prices had increased. Now that coal prices have reduced, we are at a loss to understand why this reduction is not translated into a reduction of the industrial tariff. The exchange rate has also appreciated, and therefore this again, given that CB's cost of import is largely dollar-based cost, that has to mean that there is a reduction in cost. And again, our urge is that this reduction in cost should be reflected in the industrial tariff. We need also to push for increased renewable investment, increased investment in renewables, because this has been proved to be the case that this will help to reduce the overall cost. If Sri Lanka doesn't make massive investments in renewable energy, our costs of energy will just continue to rise. The government has already declared a 70 or 80% renewable energy by 2030. We're far away from that. I think we're currently at about 40%. How we are going to double our renewable energy without serious investments in the sector is unfathomable. Our submission is that there is ample evidence to prove that there is room for a reduction in the tariff. The CB documentation also supports this. We believe the tariff reduction is actually bigger than the CB is contemplating.